Music has been a big part of my life for like a long, long time. I always have an AirPod in my ear. Always. I can't live without music. I think music is the most beautiful form of expression in media. Movies, TV shows, and books are all rad and stuff, but there's something different about music. So in celebration of this, I'm going to give you my 10 favorite albums. However, only one from each artist, and you'll see why later. Number 10 is I Know I'm Funny Haha by Fay Webster. I'm going to start this by saying Fay Webster is the best white singer, man or woman, just period. For 10, it was either this or her other album, Atlanta Millionaires Club. With I Know I'm Funny Haha, however, I always seem to come back to it more. Especially recently, I've felt the music more and more by day, and when life gets better, so does this album. The songs flow into each other but are distinct, and I also think that her personality shines through more so on this album than her others. The highlight of this album personally for me is A Dream of the Baseball Player. It's her best sounding, flowing, feeling song. It feels amazing. She does her thing with this album for sure. My favorite songs are A Dream of the Baseball Player, Overslept, and Cheers. Number 9, it might be a little high, is Closed Captions by Chay. I've said before on this channel how much this album means to me. It's fantastic. CC is what I imagine doing hard drugs is like, if that makes sense, like 80s cocaine or LSD. In my humble opinion, it's one of the best underground debut albums and one of, if not the best album to come out last year, along with Osama Season, which was pretty good too. The production on this album is literally disgustingly fantastic. It's the most unique and mind-boggling beats I've ever heard in my life. The engineering is insane. Nate XO did that, bro. He did that. I see a lot of criticism saying it's repetitive, but every song is super distinct to me and stands out. One of the best examples is the third track, Fangs. I literally cannot describe this song to you, even if I tried my best. If Ben Shapiro heard Chay, he would literally start fucking tweaking. Like, he would literally have a seizure. The way Chay changes his sound from like Agenda, for example, to this is just so beautiful. And he does it again with Kruger. Just fantastic. Soul's a song where no matter what mood I'm in, I'm singing it from my heart. My favorite songs are Draco, Fangs, Soul, and Flat. Number 8 is Life in Hell by Lancey Foe. Lancey Foe is one of the most special artists I've ever listened to. With his albums like Friend or Foe and Pink 2, I was so excited for this album to come out. I had high expectations, and yet Lancey still exceeded them. This album is so personal, and it hits me to my core. In my opinion, it's his peak in every vocal, lyrical, and production aspect. Songs like Pendulum and Casino Royale are easily some of his best, and this album really connected with me in no way an underground album, in air quotes, has. Even though its runtime goes for a little over an hour, it's not stretched out, and man, oh man, it feels so short. The best thing about this album is that it causes me to look inward, and it gives me confidence. My favorite songs are Casino Royale / Thank You, Pendulum, High Grade, Wake Up / I'm Alive. Number 7 is Care For Me by Saba. This album is just spectacular. There's not much I can say about it. It's stellar in every way. It has that same self-reflection aspect as Life in Hell, but only goes on for 10 perfect tracks. There's not one singular miss on here. It's one of the best albums I've heard when it comes to just talking about the Black experience as well. Saba tells the story of his life unfiltered, and it is so relatable. It's just an amazing experience overall, and if anything about this album is worth it, it's the last 2 tracks. Please give it a listen. Saba is a spectacular artist. My favorite songs are Heaven All Around Me, Busy / Sirens, and Prom / King. Number 6 is Trilogy by The Weeknd. Now, listen to me, alright? I know it's a compilation album, but I promise you, I don't care. House of Balloon, Thursday, and Echoes of Silence are too good, and I would most definitely just pick the album with all of mine. This album, though, is just wow. God, it's so good. It's so much different than The Weeknd's other work, and that is just fantastic. The production and The Weeknd act as one, and the flows, oh my god, the flows are so messy yet organized. I simply have no words. It's just timeless and will remain one of my favorite Weeknd projects. My favorite songs are Be Ready. There's like 30 songs on the album, so there's gonna be a couple. Coming Down, Till Dawn, Here Comes the Sun, The Knowing, DD, XO The Host, 28, The Zone, and Thursday. We're in the top 5 now, and number 5 is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. Now, this might be a little surprise because Igor is indeed one of his albums, which was hard to leave out. However, I came to this epiphany. The difference between these 2 albums, in my opinion, is the difference in the way they make you feel. Igor has a sad yet incredible, relatable love story that obviously everyone knows about. However, with Call Me If You Get Lost, it has this incredible self-confidence on it that latches onto me, and is the reason why I revisit it so often. This album and the next 4 are just core parts of me. It's fantastic and easily Tyler's best in my humble, amazing opinion. And one of my favorite lines, and one I live by, is, "Yeah, we getting lost, but we know who we am." Just a masterpiece. My favorite songs are Hot Wind Blows, Safari, Massa, Run It Up, Sweet I Thought You Wanted to Dance. Number 4 is Wizard by Future. Now, listen, Call Me If You Get Lost and Wizard can both be top 3, but this was the order I decided on. Wizard has some of the best verses in Future's career, and its production is just fantastic. And man, Future might have the best flows ever. I didn't get the Future hype for the longest, and I finally got it after listening to this. The production is muted and a perfect continuation after coming off Future and Hendrix as his last 2 albums. It's also a nice detail how the title is Future Hendrix Presents after dividing the two in the last 2 albums. Also, Young Thug, Gunna, and Travis are just amazing features on this as well, especially Thugger and Gunna on Unique on Purpose. Just a masterpiece of a song. Top 3, holy moly, we are here. Before I go into it, I do want to do some honorable mentions because I've been waiting to do this because there were some really amazing albums I left off and I felt absolutely horrible. So here we go. Who Really Cares by TV Girl, We're All Alone in This Together by Dave, Let the Sun Talk by Mavi, and Rainbows by Radiohead, No Thank You by Sims, Project X by Ken Carson, Blonde by Frank Ocean, Barter 6 by Young Thug. And now I didn't really know what album to do for Nujabez, but I decided on Spiritual State or Model Soul, but I think I'm leaning more towards Model Soul.
Hey, do you like Kanye West?
He's okay, I guess.
Well, the early work was a little too hip-hop for me and my taste. But when Dark Twisted Fantasy came out in 2010, I think he really came into his own, both musically and lyrically.
Now on to number 3, Yeezus by Kanye West. This is the proudest, the most obnoxious, the most egotistical Kanye has ever been, and it really shines through this album. The second best production I've ever heard, the amazing verses, the bold statements, this album does it all. The features kill it as well, especially on Hold My Liquor. Chief Keef is just fantastic, man. This era of Kanye is my favorite next to The Life of Pablo. Now, the reason I had to limit the amount of albums from each artist is because I originally had like 4 Kanye albums on here. Now, I do want to preface that I do not condone or endorse anything he said outside of his music. I promise you. It's just that his music is so insanely good. Yeezus, I ended up deciding, was my favorite because it has this allure to it that I can't really explain. My favorite songs are On Sight, Bound 2, Hold My Liquor, New Slaves, Black Skinhead, and Guilt Trip. Number 2 is Free Wave 3 by Lucky. I originally had 3 Lucky albums on here. It was crazy. This particular album, though, got me through the toughest moments in my life, and it is so heartbreakingly beautiful and relatable. It was my most played album for I think 3 years in a row. I generally have this attachment to it that is so weird, but it makes sense because of how it impacted my life. It's comfortable and completely and utterly flawless. My favorite songs are Out My Way, Of Course You Won't, Geek Monster, All In, Glory Boy, Peach Dream, damn near the whole album. Number 1 is Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. This album is just... I can't find the words. It's just a masterclass. This album has so many interpretations, and I can't land on any one, and that's what's so beautiful about it. It has the best production and vocal performance I have ever heard, ever. There was a point for months that my top 5 songs, or just my favorite songs in general, were all from this album. I can't glaze it enough. The 5-song run at the beginning is genuinely just mind-boggling. I can't fathom how you make something like this. My favorite songs are all of them at any given point in time. I hope you guys enjoyed my list. It changed plenty throughout the making of this video, but that's okay because music is very subjective. Subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great day.